Eggs seem simple, affordable protein wrapped in a perfect shell. But for seniors, hidden dangers are cracking through. From salmonella outbreaks tied to industrial farms to misleading labels hiding filthy conditions, some brands are gambling with your health. Today, we expose 9 egg brands you must avoid and reveal the 2 actually worth your trust. Coming in at number 9, we have Cal-Maine Foods eggs. Cal-Maine Foods is the largest egg producer in the United States. They supply eggs under dozens of brand names you see every single day at your local grocery store. Names like Farmhouse Eggs, Sunups, Sunny Meadow, and even store brands for major retailers. They produce over 1 billion eggs every single year. 1 billion. That is a staggering number when you stop to think about it. Now, the promise from Cal-Maine has always been simple. Fresh eggs from American farms, wholesome, reliable, safe for your family. That is what the packaging suggests. That is what the marketing implies. But here is what the inspectors actually found. In April 2024, Cal-Maine Foods issued a massive voluntary recall affecting nearly 4 million eggs. 4 million eggs pulled from shelves across multiple states. The reason was salmonella contamination discovered at one of their Texas facilities. Inspectors traced the outbreak back to hens at a single farm, but the eggs had already been distributed far and wide. Grocery stores in 9 different states had these contaminated eggs sitting right there on their refrigerated shelves, waiting for unsuspecting customers to bring them home. Now, for a healthy younger person, salmonella might mean a few rough days. Stomach cramps, diarrhea, fever. Unpleasant, but survivable. But for seniors, the story is completely different. The Centers for Disease Control estimates that adults over 65 are 4 times more likely to be hospitalized from a salmonella infection compared to younger adults. 4 times. And the fatality rate climbs dramatically as well. If you are on blood pressure medication, if you have kidney issues, if your immune system is compromised from diabetes or heart disease, a salmonella infection can spiral out of control fast. What starts as stomach trouble can lead to bloodstream infections, kidney failure, even death in severe cases. The real betrayal here is the sheer scale of Cal-Maine's operation. When you control that much of the egg supply, when your eggs end up under so many different brand names, a single contamination event can spread across the entire country before anyone even realizes there is a problem. You might be buying eggs from what you think are different companies, different farms, different sources, but they are all coming from the same place, the same facilities, the same risks. And here is the thing that should make you angry. Cal-Maine knew there were problems. Internal audits had flagged biosecurity concerns at some facilities months before the outbreak, but production continued, profits continued, and seniors across America continued buying eggs they believed were safe. The golden yolk you crack into your morning pan might look perfect. It might smell fresh, but the bacteria hiding inside are invisible. You cannot see them. You cannot smell them. You only discover the truth when you are doubled over in pain, wondering how a simple breakfast could betray you like this. Why is it always the cheapest options that seem to cause the most health problems? At number 8, we have Hillandale Farms. Hillandale Farms is another giant in the American egg industry. They operate massive facilities across multiple states, producing millions of eggs every single week. Their eggs show up under various brand names at grocery stores, warehouse clubs, and even institutional food service operations. Hospitals, nursing homes, schools, places where the most vulnerable people eat every single day. The company promises fresh, quality eggs from family farms. The imagery on their website shows rolling green pastures, happy hens, blue skies. It paints a picture of wholesome, traditional farming, the kind of eggs your grandmother might have collected from her backyard coop. But the reality inside those industrial facilities tells a very different story. Hillandale Farms has been at the center of some of the largest egg recalls in American history. Back in 2010, the company was linked to a massive salmonella outbreak that sickened nearly 2,000 people across the United States. Inspectors who visited their Iowa facilities found conditions that would turn your stomach. Dead hens left rotting in cages alongside living birds still producing eggs. Rodents scurrying freely through the hen houses. Manure piled so high it was pushing through floorboards. The stench was described as overwhelming, a thick, ammonia-laden air that made inspectors physically gag. And these were the conditions in facilities producing eggs destined for American breakfast tables. The FDA investigation revealed systematic failures in sanitation, cleaning protocols that existed on paper but were never actually followed, biosecurity measures that were supposed to prevent contamination but had been ignored for years. The bacteria flourished in these conditions. Salmonella thrived in the filth. For seniors, this is not just disgusting, it is dangerous. Salmonella enteritis can penetrate the eggshell while it is still forming inside the hen. That means the bacteria is already inside the egg before it ever reaches the carton. Washing the shell does nothing. Checking for cracks does nothing. The contamination is hidden within. Seniors with heart conditions face particular risks. A severe salmonella infection causes intense dehydration from vomiting and diarrhea. That dehydration can throw off the delicate electrolyte balance your heart needs to beat properly. If you are on blood thinners or heart rhythm medications, the interaction can become life-threatening. And yet, despite the 2010 outbreak, despite the inspections, despite the public outrage, Hillandale Farms continued operating. Their eggs continued appearing on store shelves. The company paid fines, made promises, and went right back to business as usual. In 2023, additional FDA inspections found ongoing concerns at some Hillandale facilities: inconsistent temperature controls in storage areas, improper egg washing procedures, documentation gaps that made it impossible to trace eggs back to specific henhouses when problems arose. The eggs in that carton might look perfectly normal: smooth, clean shells, bright orange yolks when you crack them open. But the invisible dangers lurking inside could land you in the hospital or worse. Most people never learn how to protect themselves from this. But stick around, because we will break it down at the very end of the video. Now, at number 7, we have Herbruck's Poultry Ranch. Herbruck's Poultry Ranch operates out of Michigan and has been in business for over 7 decades. They market themselves as a family-owned operation committed to quality and animal welfare. Their website features smiling farmers, pristine facilities, and promises of cage-free and organic options for health-conscious consumers. The branding suggests you are buying eggs from a trusted, multi-generational American farm. The kind of place where standards matter and shortcuts are never taken. The kind of place that takes pride in every single egg they produce. But in 2024, that carefully crafted image shattered. Herbruck's issued a voluntary recall of eggs after testing revealed salmonella contamination at their facility. The contaminated eggs had already been distributed to retailers across multiple states. They showed up in grocery stores, in restaurant supply chains, in places where people trusted they were getting safe, quality food. The recall covered millions of eggs sold under both the Herbruck's brand name and various store brands that Herbruck supplies. That is the hidden danger with these large producers. You might think you are avoiding a problematic brand by choosing a store label alternative, but those store brand eggs often come from the exact same facilities, produced under the exact same conditions, carrying the exact same risks. Federal investigators found troubling gaps in Herbruck's testing protocols. Eggs that should have been held pending test results were instead shipped directly to market. By the time the positive salmonella results came back, those eggs were already sitting in consumers' refrigerators, already being cracked into pans across the Midwest. For seniors managing chronic health conditions, this kind of contamination poses severe risks. Salmonella bacteria release toxins that trigger intense inflammatory responses in the body. If you are already dealing with inflammation from arthritis, heart disease, or autoimmune conditions, the added stress can push your system past its limits. The dehydration from severe food poisoning is particularly dangerous for anyone taking diuretics for blood pressure management. These medications already reduce your body's fluid levels. Add violent vomiting and diarrhea on top of that, and you can rapidly develop dangerous electrolyte imbalances. Potassium levels drop, sodium levels swing wildly. Your heart struggles to maintain its rhythm. Emergency room doctors see this scenario play out regularly. An older patient comes in thinking they just have a bad stomach bug. Within hours, they are in cardiac distress because the food poisoning has thrown off their entire system. The betrayal from Herbruck's is the gap between perception and reality. They charge premium prices for cage-free and organic options, suggesting superior quality and safety. But the salmonella does not care about marketing labels. The bacteria does not care whether the hens had more room to move around. Contamination can happen anywhere sanitation protocols fail. And when those protocols fail at a large-scale producer, the consequences ripple out across entire regions. Thousands of people exposed, hundreds sickened, and seniors paying the highest price because their bodies cannot fight back the way younger immune systems can. Number 6 brings us to Roseacre Farms. Roseacre Farms is the second largest egg producer in the United States. They operate massive facilities across multiple states and supply eggs to major retailers, food service companies, and processed food manufacturers. If you have eaten anything containing eggs in America, there is a decent chance those eggs came from Roseacre. The company presents itself as a leader in the industry: modern facilities, strict safety standards, a commitment to delivering quality eggs to American families. That is the image they project. That is what they want you to believe when you reach for that carton on the shelf. But the history tells a different story. In 2018, Roseacre Farms was forced to recall over 200 million eggs. That was one of the largest egg recalls in American history. The recall came after more than 35 people across multiple states fell ill from salmonella contamination traced back to a single Roseacre facility in North Carolina. 200 million eggs. Let that number sink in. That is not a small quality control slip. That is a systemic failure at an industrial scale. FDA inspectors who visited the North Carolina facility found rodent and pest problems. They found inadequate cleaning procedures. They found gaps in the biosecurity measures that were supposed to prevent exactly this kind of contamination. The bacteria had been allowed to flourish because basic sanitation standards were not being met. The sickened consumers reported severe symptoms: bloody diarrhea, intense abdominal cramping, fevers spiking to dangerous levels. For most, the illness lasted a week or more. For the elderly and immunocompromised among them, recovery took even longer. Some required hospitalization. What makes the Roseacre situation particularly troubling is the pattern. This was not an isolated incident. The company has faced multiple FDA warning letters over the years. Inspectors have flagged concerns again and again, and yet the eggs keep flowing to market. The cartons keep appearing on store shelves. For seniors, the risks compound with every additional health condition you are managing. Salmonella infections are particularly dangerous for anyone with kidney disease. Your kidneys are already working overtime to filter toxins from your blood. Add the bacterial toxins from a severe infection, and you can push those organs into failure. The eggs look the same in every carton. The shells feel the same. The yolks look the same when you crack them. But the invisible contamination hiding inside does not discriminate. It does not check your age or your medical history before making you sick. Do you think recalls are accidents or just the ones they actually got caught on? At number 5, we have Great Value eggs from Walmart. Great Value is Walmart's store brand, and their eggs are among the cheapest options you will find in any grocery store. For seniors living on fixed incomes, that low price is incredibly appealing. Every dollar matters when you are stretching a Social Security check to cover groceries, medications, and bills. Walmart promises quality at low prices. Their marketing emphasizes value without compromise. The implication is that you are getting the same quality as name brands, just without the expensive advertising budgets built into the price. But here is what that low price actually buys you. Great Value eggs are sourced from multiple large-scale producers, including some of the same companies already on this list. When you buy Great Value, you have no way of knowing which facility those eggs actually came from. There is no transparency, no traceability, just a cheap price and a hope that nothing went wrong along the supply chain. Consumer complaints about Great Value eggs are shockingly common. Online reviews and social media posts describe eggs with watery pale yolks, shells that crack too easily, off smells when the carton is opened. Some customers report finding eggs with suspicious spots or discoloration inside. Those are signs of potential bacterial contamination or improper handling. The supply chain for store-brand eggs is particularly vulnerable to problems. Walmart contracts with whichever producers can meet their price demands. That creates pressure to cut corners, to reduce costs wherever possible. And when the margins are razor thin, the cuts often come from the places that matter most: sanitation, testing, quality control. Inspections of facilities that supply store-brand eggs have revealed troubling patterns. Temperature control failures during transport. Eggs sitting in unrefrigerated loading docks for extended periods. Storage conditions that allow bacteria to multiply rapidly. For seniors, every link in that supply chain represents another opportunity for something to go wrong. By the time those eggs reach your refrigerator, they may have been mishandled multiple times. The contamination may have already taken hold. The economic reality is cruel. The people who can least afford to get sick, seniors on fixed incomes already managing multiple health conditions, are the ones most likely to buy the cheapest eggs. And those cheap eggs carry the highest hidden risks. A hospitalization for salmonella poisoning can cost tens of thousands of dollars. Even with Medicare coverage, the copays and deductibles add up fast. The cost savings from buying cheap eggs evaporate in a single emergency room visit. And that is before you factor in the suffering, the recovery time, the lasting damage to organs that were already struggling. If this information is helping you stay safer at the store, hit subscribe. It is free, and it means you will never miss these exposes. The first protection against these hidden dangers comes at the end of this video. Stay with me because the solution is coming. Moving to number 4, we have Eggland's Best. Eggland's Best has built their entire brand around being superior to ordinary eggs. Their distinctive stamp on every shell, that little EB logo, is supposed to signify quality, nutrition, and trust. They advertise higher levels of vitamins and omega-3 fatty acids, less saturated fat, less cholesterol, Eggs that are actively good for your health. For seniors worried about heart disease and cholesterol levels, that marketing is incredibly persuasive. These eggs cost more than conventional options, but the health benefits seem worth the premium. You are investing in your well-being with every carton. But the reality behind those health claims is more complicated than the advertising suggests. Eggland's best eggs come from hens fed a proprietary vegetarian diet. That diet does result in some nutritional differences compared to conventional eggs. But the improvements are relatively modest. You would need to eat many eggs to see meaningful health benefits from the slightly elevated vitamin levels. More concerning are the safety issues that have plagued the brand. Eggland's best sources eggs from multiple producers across the country. Some of those producers have faced their own contamination issues and inspection failures. When you buy Eggland's Best, you are trusting not just the brand name, but the entire network of facilities producing those eggs, and that network has weak links. Consumer complaints have reported finding eggs with blood spots, meat spots, and other abnormalities at rates higher than expected from a premium brand. While these imperfections are generally not dangerous, they suggest quality control issues that could extend to more serious problems. The bigger betrayal is the health halo effect. Seniors trust Eggland's Best because of the health marketing. They let their guard down because they believe they are buying a safer, healthier product. But the salmonella risk is the same. The contamination potential is the same. That EB stamp on the shell does not provide magical protection against bacteria. In fact, the premium price may actually increase risk in an indirect way. Seniors who pay more for Eggland's Best may be more likely to eat their eggs soft-boiled or runny, believing the higher quality makes them safer. But any undercooked egg, no matter how expensive or how nutritious the label claims it to be, carries contamination risk. For seniors taking cholesterol medications like statins, the interaction between diet and drugs is already delicate. Adding a foodborne illness to that equation can throw off your entire treatment regimen. The medications may not absorb properly while you are sick. Your cholesterol levels can swing unpredictably. Your doctor may need to adjust doses, leading to weeks of instability. The premium branding creates a false sense of security, and that false security might be the most dangerous thing of all. Number 3 brings us to Vital Farms. Vital Farms has positioned itself as the ethical choice for conscious consumers. Pasture-raised hens, small family farms, transparent sourcing. They publish the names and locations of their partner farms right on the carton. You can supposedly trace your eggs back to the actual farm where they were laid. For seniors who remember what eggs used to taste like back before industrial farming took over, Vital Farms promises a return to that quality. Rich orange yolks, full flavor, eggs the way nature intended, and they charge accordingly. Vital Farms. Eggs cost significantly more than conventional options. Sometimes 2 or 3 times as much. You are paying for ethics, for quality, for peace of mind. But that peace of mind may be premature. Vital Farms' network of small partner farms creates its own set of challenges. Each farm operates somewhat independently. Each has its own staff, its own procedures, its own potential for error. The decentralized model that makes Vital Farms appealing from an animal welfare perspective also creates more opportunities for contamination to slip through. In recent years, some Vital Farms partner farms have faced questions about their practices. Reports have surfaced of conditions that did not quite match the idyllic marketing images. Hens with less outdoor access than advertised, pastures that were more mud than grass during certain seasons. The reality of pasture-raised egg production is messier than the pretty packaging suggests. For seniors, the pasture-raised label carries a specific hidden risk that rarely gets discussed. Hens that spend time outdoors have more contact with wild birds, rodents, and other animals. Those animals can carry diseases including avian influenza and various bacterial pathogens. The same outdoor access that makes the eggs seem more natural also exposes the hens to more potential sources of contamination. Avian influenza has been devastating commercial poultry operations across the country in recent years. Millions of birds have been culled to prevent spread. While eggs from infected birds are not supposed to reach market, the chaos of outbreak response creates gaps. Testing cannot always keep up. Some contaminated products inevitably slip through. The premium price of Vital Farms eggs also influences how people prepare them. You did not pay $8 a dozen to scramble those eggs into oblivion. The temptation is to prepare them gently, sunny side up, soft poached, barely cooked, to preserve the flavor and color you paid for. But that gentle preparation increases the risk of any bacteria surviving to make you sick. For seniors with compromised immune systems, the calculus should be different. Fully cooked eggs, firm whites, and firm yolks are the only truly safe preparation. But when you are paying premium prices, the urge to enjoy those eggs at their most delicious can override the safety concerns. Ever notice how brands with the prettiest packaging seem to have the most to hide? At number 2, we have Happy Egg Company. Happy Egg Company burst onto the market with vibrant orange packaging and promises of joyful hens living their best lives. Free range, heritage breeds, eggs that taste like happiness itself. The branding is expertly designed to make you feel good about your purchase before you even crack a shell. For seniors, that emotional appeal is powerful. You want to make choices that align with your values. You want to support farming practices that feel right. And if those choices come with superior taste and nutrition, even better. Happy Egg has grown rapidly, expanding from a British import to a major presence in American grocery stores. Their eggs now appear in mainstream retailers across the country, competing directly with conventional brands on shelf space. But rapid growth comes with quality control challenges. Consumer complaints about Happy Egg have increased along with the brand's expansion. Reports of inconsistent quality, some cartons containing beautiful, rich eggs, while others seem no better than conventional options. Complaints about eggs with weak shells that break too easily. Concerns about freshness, with some customers reporting older than expected eggs despite premium prices. The free-range designation itself is less reassuring than it sounds. USDA standards for free-range only require that birds have access to the outdoors. They do not specify how much outdoor space, how often the birds actually go outside, or what conditions exist in those outdoor areas. In practice, free-range can mean a small door to a concrete pad that most birds never actually use. Happy Egg claims to exceed those minimum standards, but independent verification is limited. You are trusting the company's marketing rather than rigorous third-party inspection. The rapid scaling of Happy Egg's operations also raises sourcing questions. As demand has grown, the company has needed more partner farms, more facilities, more potential points of failure. Maintaining quality and safety across a rapidly expanding network is extremely difficult. Something almost always slips through the cracks. For seniors managing diabetes, egg quality matters beyond just contamination risk. Blood sugar control depends on predictable nutrition from your food. When egg quality varies widely from carton to carton, your ability to manage your diet suffers. The nutritional content you are counting on may not actually be there, and the premium price creates additional psychological risk. You have invested more money in these eggs. You feel committed to believing they were worth it. That emotional investment can blind you to signs of problems, off smells, unusual textures, anything that would make you question your purchase. The happy hens on the carton might be laying eggs in conditions very different from what the marketing implies, and you have no real way to know until something goes wrong. What is the worst egg you have ever cracked open? Drop it in the comments below. Coming in at number 1, we have Nellie's Free Range. Nellie's free-range eggs have become a staple in health-conscious households across America. The brand emphasizes humane treatment of hens, certified humane certification, and a commitment to doing things the right way. Their packaging features a friendly cartoon hen and promises of eggs from small family farms. The story Nellie's tells is appealing. After seeing the horrors of industrial egg farming, the founders decided to create something better. Hens with space to roam, farmers who care, eggs you can feel good about eating. For seniors who have watched the food industry change over their lifetimes, who remember when eggs came from actual farms rather than industrial facilities, Nellie's promises a return to something real, something trustworthy, something safe. But is that trust actually earned? Nellie's has faced scrutiny over whether their practices fully match their marketing. The certified humane certification they prominently display has specific standards, but those standards still allow for practices that many consumers would find surprising. The outdoor access can be limited. The barn conditions can still be crowded. The reality of commercial egg production, even under humane certifications, involves compromises. More concerning for safety-conscious seniors are questions about Nellie's supply chain. As the brand has grown, they have expanded their network of partner farms. Each farm represents another set of conditions, another set of practices, another potential weak link in the safety chain. The free-range model, while better for animal welfare, does create specific food safety challenges. Outdoor access means exposure to wild birds and other animals that can carry pathogens. Seasonal conditions affect the outdoor areas, with rain and mud creating environments where bacteria can flourish. The pastoral image on the carton does not show the muddy reality of many free-range operations during certain times of year. For seniors with heart conditions, the stress of food poisoning poses particular dangers. Your cardiovascular system is already working to manage your condition. Add the strain of violent vomiting, severe dehydration, and inflammatory response from bacterial infection, and you are putting your heart under enormous stress. The risk of cardiac events increases significantly during and after serious foodborne illness. The certification labels on Nellie's cartons, certified humane, free range, all of it, focus entirely on animal welfare. They say nothing about food safety testing protocols, nothing about contamination prevention, nothing about the specific risks that matter most to seniors trying to protect their health. You can feel good about how the hens were treated while still getting dangerously sick from contaminated eggs. The two issues are completely separate, and the marketing rarely makes that distinction clear. Why do you think the FDA lets brands use practices that other countries have banned? Now, here is what you have been waiting for: the eggs that are actually worth your trust. The first safe option is Kirkland Signature Organic Eggs from Costco. After everything we have covered, you might be wondering if any eggs are actually safe. The answer is yes, but you need to know where to look. Kirkland Signature Organic Eggs from Costco represent one of the safest options available to American consumers. Here is why they earn this recommendation. Costco maintains extraordinarily strict quality control standards for their Kirkland Signature products. Unlike retailers who simply accept whatever suppliers send them, Costco actively audits their suppliers, conducts independent testing, and holds producers to standards that exceed FDA requirements. The organic certification for Kirkland eggs means the hens are fed organic feed without antibiotics or pesticides. But more importantly for safety, the facilities producing these eggs are subject to more rigorous inspection than conventional operations. Costco has the purchasing power and corporate will to demand better from their suppliers. When a supplier fails to meet Kirkland standards, Costco has no hesitation about finding another source. That accountability creates incentive for producers to maintain genuinely high standards rather than cutting corners. For seniors, several specific factors make Kirkland eggs a safer choice. The supply chain is shorter and more controlled. The eggs move from producer to Costco warehouse to your refrigerator with fewer handling points and less opportunity for problems. Temperature control is maintained throughout. Freshness is prioritized. The Costco business model, membership-based, high volume, focused on customer loyalty, means they cannot afford contamination scandals the way other retailers can. A single outbreak traced to Kirkland products would devastate their carefully cultivated reputation. That business incentive translates into genuine food safety investment. The eggs themselves are consistently high quality. Rich yolks, strong shells, fresh smell when you open the carton. The quality control shows in every dozen. If you have a Costco membership, Kirkland Signature Organic Eggs should be your default choice. The combination of quality, safety, and reasonable pricing makes them the clear winner for health-conscious seniors. The second safe recommendation is Pete & Gerry's Organic Eggs. Pete & Gerry's has built their reputation more carefully than any other organic egg brand in America. Founded in New Hampshire by a family with genuine farming roots, they have resisted the temptation to scale rapidly at the expense of quality. What sets Pete & Gerry's apart is their verified commitment to small farm sourcing. Unlike brands that use family farm language loosely, Pete & Gerry's actually partners with small operations across the Northeast and maintains direct relationships with each farm. Their eggs carry multiple certifications including USDA Organic, Certified Humane, and Non-GMO Project Verified. But certifications are only as valuable as the verification behind them. Pete & Gerry's welcomes independent audits and maintains transparency that larger producers avoid. For seniors, the smaller network of trusted farms means fewer unknown variables. Each egg comes from a facility with documented practices, regular testing, and accountability to the Pete & Gerry's standards. When problems arise, and they inevitably do in any food production system, they can be identified and addressed quickly because the supply chain is manageable. The company's food safety record is notably clean. While no producer can guarantee zero risk, Pete & Gerry's has avoided the major recalls and contamination events that have plagued larger competitors. Their size allows them to maintain quality control that industrial operations cannot match. The eggs themselves reflect this careful approach, consistently fresh, with rich golden yolks and firm whites. The quality is what eggs are supposed to be, and what industrial production has trained us to forget. Pete & Gerry's eggs cost more than conventional options. But for seniors prioritizing health and safety, the investment is worth it. You are paying for genuine quality control, not just premium marketing. You are buying peace of mind that is actually earned. These two brands, Kirkland Signature and Pete & Gerry's, represent your safest choices in the American egg market. Both prioritize the factors that actually matter for food safety, not just the marketing claims that sound good on packaging. Not all eggs are created equal. Some can put your health at serious risk. You now know which 9 brands to leave on the shelf and which 2 have earned your trust. Protecting yourself starts with the choices you make at the grocery store. Subscribe now, and if you are watching on TV, tap your remote so you never get blindsided again.